Hey YouTube, welcome back to a brand new Animal Crossing New Horizons video. Today we are taking a look at all the different critters you need to catch before the end of July in New Horizons. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. So as crazy as it seems, we are coming to the end of another month, putting us 4 months into the release of New Horizons. I honestly can't believe how fast it's gone. It seems like we waited forever to play and suddenly here we are well into the game. Anyway, whether you're new to New Horizons or not, I think by now everyone is used to hunting down different creatures. Of course, some of the creatures are easier to find than others, but there could even be some you didn't realise were actually around, especially if this is your first Animal Crossing game. Now, just like in past months, we are about to see a shift in the critters we can encounter around our islands, and it's not just fish and bugs we need to look out for this time, because thanks to the summer update, we even have some new deep sea creatures to find, which is super exciting. Of course, we're already in the middle of a particular season. It's summer in the Northern Hemisphere and winter in the Southern Hemisphere, so we won't see a huge shift in creatures, but going over the changes last time really seemed to help a lot of you out, so we're back to run down all the different critters you need to keep your eyes open for over the next few days as we approach August and they all disappear. You'll be pleased to know there's only a handful of critters in each hemisphere to find over the next few days. So starting with bugs in the Northern Hemisphere, we only have one leaving, and that's the honeybee. Honeybees are fairly easy to catch, so I doubt you'll have any trouble finding them, but they can be found flying around during the day between 8 AM and 5 PM. This critter has been in the game since launch, but will be disappearing until March next year, so if you haven't donated one to Blathers in the museum yet, be sure to catch one. Now for the Southern Hemisphere, you'll be glad to know no bugs are leaving. This is because it's already winter in the Southern Hemisphere, so most of the bugs have already left or are not yet due to arrive. And that's pretty much it for bugs. So now with bugs out of the way, and before we move on to the new deep sea creatures, let's get into the fish leaving before August. Again, in the Northern Hemisphere, we only have one tiny fish leaving at the end of the month, and that is of course the tadpole. It's super common. I highly doubt anyone needs to hunt this critter down because it can be found all day in ponds. The tadpole will be gone for several months though, and just like the honeybee, won't be returning until March next year. If for some reason you're struggling to find a tadpole, you may have to terraform a new pond. Everyone in the Southern Hemisphere will be glad to know no fish are leaving before August either, but again, due to the winter season, that's to be expected. This is definitely the easiest month so far for catching critters. And finally, since the summer update was added a couple of weeks back, we will also see a shift in the deep sea creatures that can be found when diving underwater in both hemispheres. So starting with the Northern Hemisphere, we only have one deep sea creature leaving, and that's the very common seaweed. The seaweed is always a large stationary shadow and seems to be super common as it can be found all day. Deep sea creatures can of course be donated to a museum, so if you haven't donated one yet, make sure you do over the next few days, but don't worry too much though, as it's not gone for long and returns in October. And that's the only sea creature leaving this month in the Northern Hemisphere. Now finally we have something to talk about for the Southern Hemisphere, as there is actually two deep sea creatures that you'll no longer be able to encounter in August. The two sea creatures leaving the Southern Hemisphere are the abalone and the lobster. The abalone is a medium shadow and often moves around but not very quickly, so you'll probably have already found one when diving for scallops. If not, they can be found most commonly during the evening between 4 PM and 9 AM. Again, this critter is only gone for a few months as it returns in December. And finally, the lobster is available all day but is large and fast, so maybe slightly more difficult to catch. It seems the lobster is only gone for a few months though, as it returns in October. Again, both of these can be donated, so be sure to catch them if you're looking to complete the museum. And there we have it, that's a total of 3 critters leaving the Northern Hemisphere, including the honeybee, the tadpole and the seaweed, and a grand total of 2 critters leaving the Southern Hemisphere, including the abalone and the lobster. So it's a pretty easy month. Of course we'll see a whole bunch of new creatures and more replace these ones in August, at which point the seasons in both hemispheres will start to change again towards the end of the month, but we'll go over those once they arrive. But what do you guys think about the creatures leaving us this month? Have you already caught them all, or are you struggling to find any? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Anyway, for now, that pretty much wraps up this video. If you're an Animal Crossing fan, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any New Horizons news. Until then, I'd like to give a special thank you to this channel's Patreon supporters, as well as this channel's members. You guys absolutely rock and truly help me upload as regularly as I do. I couldn't do it without you. Don't forget to head over to our Discord server too, and of course, if you got this far in the video, please comment "Sea Creatures" just to let me know you did. That would be super awesome. And please be sure to include if you still enjoy hunting down creatures and whether or not you'd like to see even more added in the future. I'd love to know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it entertaining. Please be sure to leave a like if you did. Thanks for watching. I hope you have an amazing day. Stay safe, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.